Your mind is your own worst enemy. If you're anything like me, when you started self-improvement, you probably had pretty negative beliefs of yourself. Maybe you thought you were ugly, or maybe you just had imposter syndrome for whatever it was that you were trying to do. Because I know that affected me a lot, and that really hindered my performance in a lot of things whenever I would be talking to girls, or even when I started MMA and stuff like that, or even in the gym. I wouldn't be hitting weights that I probably could have at the time, or I wasn't performing as well in things like sparring or rolling as I could have, because I just had this negative belief in my head. And that's caused me to miss out on a lot of opportunities, especially like I was saying, if you have these negative beliefs about yourself, you're going to miss out on, talking to that girl that you really wanted to talk to. Or I'm sure I've missed a lot of opportunities to book shows back when I was really doing this band thing, because I had the belief that, oh, I'm not going to be able to do that. And actually, I know that's for a fact, because when I did start changing my beliefs and really started working on it, the last show we did, which was pretty recently, and it was after I really started working on the mental aspect of things, we were able to book a show at kind of like one of the places we dreamed of playing at, and we booked a headlining show there and was able to do that. And that's when I realized it was really time for a change, and time to change how my brain works, basically. And I think it's time for you to do the same as well. The first lesson that I learned is that reality is whatever you believe it to be. Now, when I started, I always thought like the visualization thing and kind of the whole manifestation, I'll use superpowers kind of deal was it was very cringy to me, and I didn't really believe in it, and I honestly thought it was kind of stupid, and I thought the people that did it were stupid. I thought it just doesn't make sense. It's not based in reality. But upon further investigation, I have a slightly different view on it. Now, all the YouTubers and social media influencers stuff that talk about like manifestation and visualization, that is still like mainly just a bunch of hocus pocus, you know what I'm saying? A little pseudo magic. But there is some grounds for it and based in reality. So basically, if you're not a believer, just go ahead and visualize whatever your 10 out of 10 dream girl is. She's naked and she's ready to fuck, and she wants you right now. And I bet your pee-pee got a little bit hard, didn't it? You freaking weirdo. You creep. But if you visualize that, and you can kind of get your little pee-pee up, that's visualization right there, because your mind believes it's real. There was a really interesting study that was done where they took, I believe it was 3 groups, and they practiced their free throw shots in basketball, right? So one group, they didn't practice their free throws at all for the duration of 30 days. One group, they practiced every single day for their free throws. And the last group, they didn't actually touch a basketball, but they practiced visualizing shooting those free throws. And so at the end of the 30 days, they tested all of them. The group that didn't practice their free throws or didn't practice visualizations, they didn't improve. The people that practiced their free throws, obviously they had a little bit of improvement. And the people that practiced visualization, I believe, had the same amount of improvement, if not better, than the people that actually practiced their free throws. And that was just insane to me to realize this, because they didn't even actually touch a basketball and somehow they're getting better, just as good as the people that are actually practicing, which is just, it doesn't sound like it would make sense, but it's just a crazy way that the mind works, because like I said, reality is what you believe it to be. And now this is going to lead into the reason that your mind is working against you. And this is because negative feedback is the actual problem. And what negative feedback is, it's basically, if just kind of summarize it, is it's going to be the way that past trauma has conditioned you to act and to believe, because whatever you believe about yourself right now may not actually be based in reality, but is just what you have conditioned your mind to believe, or what the experiences that you've had in life have conditioned your mind to believe is true, right? So basically, you're just holding on to a bunch of false negative beliefs. Maybe you got embarrassed in front of a group of people, and now anytime you have to be talkative in front of a group of people, you get nervous and shy and start over analyzing, overthinking everything. Or maybe some girl rejected you, and now for whatever reason, because that girl wasn't attracted to you, now you think every girl thinks you're ugly or something like that. And basically you're just conditioning yourself and reinforcing these beliefs, whether they may be true or not. You're conditioning yourself to believe that, which is something that we need to break out of. This negative feedback is like a bad habit. Because you condition your mind to have these thoughts, you're just going to continue having these thoughts anytime you try to think something positive. And so what we need to do is rewire our brains, right? And so this is something that I've been working on a lot recently, is just rewiring your brain and just absolute factory reset. Because what we need to do to break these bad habits is rewire our brain. Time for an absolute factory reset, you know? So the first thing that we're going to do is recognize the symptoms of negative feedback. And so whenever I'm going to keep using a girl as an example because I'm sure a lot of us can relate to this, and this is probably, especially if you're starting out in self-improvement, you're probably just now starting to talk to girls and stuff like that. But if you see a pretty girl on the street and you think, oh, I want to go talk to her, immediately part of your brain is just going to start over analyzing it and telling you like, oh, this could go wrong, this is going to happen, and she could say no, and like she's going to call you ugly, blah blah blah. And that's reinforcing those negative habits. So what you need to do is recognize the symptoms of that and just be like, okay, my brain is trying to work against me right now, but I know this is not based in reality. This is not actually what's going on. I've never talked to this girl, so she's not really saying those things. It's just a figment of my imagination, my brain. And at that point, that's when you need to flip the switch and start having those positive thoughts. Say to yourself, literally like say in your mind, or maybe like out loud under your breath, because you don't want to be like a weirdo saying that in the street like in front of everybody. I mean, maybe you do, but I don't think that would actually help you get the girl, but you do you. But yeah, so go ahead and start saying to yourself, immediately flip the switch and start saying positive thoughts to yourself, like, yes, I can get that girl, I'm an attractive person, I'm working on myself, I'm becoming a better man, becoming a high value man. And stop thinking and just do it, perform, and be present in the moment, because that's going to be where a lot of us make our mistakes, is because we start overanalyzing, having these negative thoughts. But if you turn it off, say one positive thought to yourself, or think of the end goal that you want. Like in this example, immediately think of the end goal of getting this girl's number, everything went well, and you guys had a nice conversation, and then just forget and come back to the present moment. Let me repeat that again, just so you can get it through your head. As soon as you start having these negative thoughts, flip the switch and think of the positive end goal, where you had a nice conversation with this girl and she gave you a number whatsoever, and come back to the present moment. Just think of the end goal and then immediately return to the present moment, not thinking about the end goal, not thinking of what can go wrong, not thinking of anything, and just performing what tasks need to be done in order to achieve that end goal. Let your body and your mind figure it out, because it's kind of works like a computer. Once you insert the goal into your mind, like you insert the task that you want done into the computer will take care of it itself. You don't have to manually do all this stuff. That's when problems start coming up, and that's when you start overanalyzing and overthinking. What you need to do is just let your mind, the computer, work itself out. Give it the end goal and let it work itself out. And another thing that you should do is practice visualizations. And like I said, it's you don't want to be like the kind of cringy people that pray to rocks and stuff like that. That's where it gets a little too weird for me. But in terms of just normal, healthy visualizations, before I go to bed, I'm immediately already thinking of and visualizing how I want the next day to go and what I'm going to be doing and stuff like that. Same thing, as soon as I wake up, before I get out of bed, I just kind of remind myself, like, this is what I visualize that I want to happen and how I want the day to go. And then I can start my day. I don't spend too long on it, because like I said, all you're doing is, in terms of visualization, is inserting the goal into the computer, you know what I'm saying, your mind, and then letting the computer, your mind and body, work itself out. because it will figure out how to achieve the goal on its own. It's kind of like a heat-seeking missile. It's going to zigzag on and off target, and those are going to be, when it gets off target, right, those are going to be the negative feedbacks that tell it to go back. And so what your mind's basically doing right now is, when it's going off target and gets those negative feedback, it's not really listening. It's just listening to the negative feedback and kind of staying there off course. But if you just let that negative feedback not be too big a deal and just get you back on course, you're going to reach your goal every time. And the last thing I think you should do to rewire your brain, and I've been telling you every single video lately, just because like this has honestly been one of the best books and one of my favorite books that I've read in a while, Psycho-Cybernetics. Yeah, get this book as soon as you can. Go ahead and, if you're waiting on a ship or something like that, you bought it online, go ahead and start reading it online a little bit, and just kind of getting yourself in the mindset that you're reading this book and you're ready to change, rewire your brain, because this book, I'm telling you, is phenomenal. I really enjoy it. I'm not even done with it yet, just a chapter or two more, but I do plan on rereading it pretty soon as well, just to really like soak up as much information as I can from it, because it is a really good book, and it teaches you, has a lot more exercises that you can do if you want to go further into passive visualizations and stuff in order to rewire your brain and create a whole new self-image of yourself. But this book is definitely going to help you, and I think it's an essential read if you're into self-improvement and you want to become a better man. I think you definitely need to get this book as soon as possible. But so your mind may be working against you right now, but this is something that we're going to change in the future, and eventually it will be working for you and helping you achieve your goals and stuff like that. So make sure to follow some of the advice from this video in Psycho-Cybernetics. If it does help you out, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Just remember, be better than you were yesterday.